System at the top there, and that old mill that's on the other side of the water there used to grind the corn for all the farms in the valley.
It's very nice. I don't mind it.
We'll leave the river behind, and we've reached the first of a series of 3 lakes. You'll see that there's a lot of these red huts next to the water. Those are boat houses. The water is very important to this area, and it's actually how people would have travelled back in the old days. This road here that we're travelling on just now would just have been a footpath back in the before the middle of the 20th century. Before then, people would travel using the boats. They would carry their goods down to the market, and they would go over there on the left-hand side. Over on the right, you'll see a little bridge. That gives you an idea of the standard of the roads back in the old days. You've arrived here on a beautiful day, and it's a lovely time of year to be in Norway. Right now, all the trees have just come into leaf, and these leaves are all lovely and fresh, so the colours are just beautiful. And many of the trees are actually in bloom just now. It's quite a still day, so fingers crossed we'll get some good photographs. Some nice reflections off the lake. A nice truck there on the left hand side. Just coming up as we travel along here, you'll see there's a quarry. This quarry is one of the gifts that the glacier has given us, is the sand and gravel, and that sand and gravel is taken from here and it's transported down to Olden, one of the neighbouring villages, where we have a factory which is called Streen Betong Element, or Streen Concrete Elements, and they make materials for the building industry. And when you look at it, you can see the composition of the substrata here. I was just saying to the driver there, we're a little tight for time today, but I think we'll stop on the way up. It looks like excellent conditions for getting some good photos with the reflections of the lake. So we'll make a quick stop for about 5 minutes. As we travel along, the main thrust of our expedition today is over the past 2.5 million years, there have been many ice ages. The whole of Norway has been covered in ice for more than 600,000 of those, and the last ice age ended 12,000 years ago. But before then, the ice sheet was more than 1 mile thick. Here in western Norway, you can still see a lot of the traces of the effect of the ice on our landscape. The ice was rubbing against the mountains when it moved forwards, and as it travelled, this massive ice plucked up rocks and stones. And that's called glacial till. And that's the sort of thing you saw in the quarry back there. And it was carried along, acting like sandpaper, scouring the bedrock, leaving stripes in the mountains. And we can still see these stripes in many places today, and we'll see them on our way up to the glacier when we're walking. Now, the ice has also been a major instrument in forming the long fjords and our U-shaped main valleys and the hanging side valleys. In fact, it's thanks to this ice that we've got all this magnificent and unique scenery to show you today. You might have noticed the lovely colour of the water here, and this greenish white colour of many of the rivers and the turquoise of the lakes they feed is caused by the glacier, and it's the blood of the ice giants, the Olden slew. That's what I like to think anyway. The scientists tell us it's caused by fine clay silt in the melted water from the glaciers. And the silt comes from the glaciers moving and rubbing over the mountains and rocks underneath it. This silt has such a low weight that it doesn't fall down to the bottom, but rather it stays in suspension in the water and makes the green colour. As we travel up the valley, close up to the glacier, you'll see the colour intensify. But all these stones and sand from the glacier's moraine sometimes dams up the river and the lakes. So occasionally we actually have flooding in the glacier valleys due to that. In the whole of Norway, we have a total of 1,627 glaciers, which cover an area of just over 1,000 square miles. If you can see to the front right hand side, you can actually see part of the glacier spilling over. That's actually a separate glacier. Once upon a time they were joined, the main glacier and this one were joined up, but they've actually separated recently. And yeah, that's the first sight you'll see today of a glacier arm. You can actually see three of them in front, and the mountains are holding the glacier back. Now this valley that we're driving through is Olden. Dalen, you might recognise the last part of that name, Dale, and the Yorkshire Dales got their names from the Vikings who settled there back in the Dark Ages. This valley is Arms. It's 13 miles long, and it stretches between peaks as high as 5,500 to 6,000 feet, or 1,700 to 1,800 metres above sea level. And the Jostedal Glacier, which is the biggest glacier on the European mainland, is held behind these tops. Now, the glacier plateau is quite flat and harmonic, with the surrounding mountains acting a bit like a bow, holding it back. And at the high mountain valleys, the glacier spills out and forms arms that throw themselves quite steep downhill like frozen waterfalls due to the massive pressure of all the ice up in the plateau. All in all, there are around 30 arms, and we've got as many as 12 of them here in the Streen municipality. The most well-known peak of the valley is Cecilia Krona. That's the one over there on the right-hand side. And the story is that a bridegroom-to-be came across the mountain from the neighbouring village Invik, but when he reached Olden Valley, he got sad news that his beloved bride Cecilia had caught a disease and died. He then named the mountain he had just crossed Cecilia's Crown, thinking of his bridal crown. Thinking of the bridal crown his Cecilia never got to wear. Another characteristic of the valley is the long and 300 feet or 90 metres deep Lake Olden. Vatn is the Norwegian word for water, and that covers almost the whole valley floor. Now we're going to make a short stop here, just 5 minutes. It's okay to cross the road, but please keep an eye out because it's quite busy today with all the tours going on. Yeah, please be careful. If you want to see the area that we're in, there's actually a signpost with a map, and there you can see where we actually are, and you'll be able to see the extent of the glaciers around here. We're actually surrounded by glacier at the moment. (1,700 metres or 5,580 feet. In old times, the glacier was the main road between the communities in the valleys. People would cross the glacier, trading the products they made on their farms, and even for social events. So you would have, it was actually a bit of a rite of passage for the young lads to be able to get up and go across the glaciers. Quite an arduous journey, but the reward they got when they got to the other side was to meet the lovely young ladies and perhaps even find a wife. Some more lambs there on the right hand side. Nowadays the glacier is a popular sporting area, both for glacier climbing and cross-country skiing. To be in the glacier, specially trained glacier guides are required. The glacier always moves, and the glacier tongue increases or decreases depending on the snowfall. The Breakstyle Glacier, the one we're going to today, has a response time of 4 years. That means that 4 years after a winter with a lot of snow up in the Jostedal Glacier, the Breakstyle Glacier tongue will increase. Now looking back, we can see that there's a period of 10 years. So that means the Breakstyle Glacier has been growing for a period of 10 years and then reducing for a period of 10. Very, very unusual around here. Everywhere's quite steep. The advantage of the flatland here is that they can grow crops like barley, and they keep cows up here as well. So this is actually a dairy area. The dairy that the milk goes to is actually on the other side of the glacier, but it's quite a round trip to get to the other side. The barley that's grown in this area is sold to the local brewery, and they make beer from it. One thing you won't see up here is fruit trees. There's lots of fruit trees in this wider area, but with these high mountainsides, there's such a lot of time where there's no actual sun shining on the valley, so it makes it less productive. Now, if you look over there on the right hand side, you'll see, as well as a lovely waterfall, you'll see there's still some snow. That's the remnants of an avalanche that came through the winter time, and you'll see what I was meaning earlier on about how the avalanches follow the same paths as the waterfalls. The river that you see on the left there, that's pure glacier water. Obviously when there's rain, there's a little bit of it mixed in, but most of the main part of that water is glacier water, and you'll notice a milky quality. That milkiness is caused by the suspended clay particles, and that's what gives it the lovely colour. When we get up to the glacier, you'll see the lake has that's by the glacier tongue has a much deeper, and the colour is more intense the closer that you get to the glacier. Fjord horse on the right hand side. You guys really are in luck today. Those fjord horses are usually kept inside over the winter time. This will be one of the first times that they're out this year. Now the waterfall that you see in front of us, that's the Vola waterfall. It's really quite spectacular. And that water that's coming down here is fed from a large ice sheet that's up in the mountains there. Obviously, later in the year, when it's much warmer, the waterfall's much stronger. This area has a long history of inhabitation, and they have found Stone Age caves up here. The glacier that we're going to see today, you should know, is not a leftover from the ice ages. They say that about between 6,000 and 3,000 years ago there was no glacier. So the glacier is actually formed since then. We're running a little behind schedule. Part of the reason is that little photo stop. I hope you enjoyed it, but this is a little behind schedule. We're due to arrive at the base camp or mountain lodge at 10:15. It takes 45 minutes to get up to the glacier, so that we should get there around 11 o'clock. We have down at the cafeteria that you'll see just round the corner here, we'll have a buffet of cakes with coffee and tea waiting for us to come back down to. So I recommend, if you want to spend about half an hour down here relaxing in the sunshine and enjoying cakes and coffee, then you should leave the glacier around 11:15. If you're not bothered about cakes and coffee, 11:45 is the very latest. If we can set off from here at 12:25, that would be fantastic. That would give us enough time to have another little stop down by the lake. So that's 12:25 back on the bus. When you get off the bus, just go down